1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All are.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Star Wars Reactions. We got a great show for you today, and we're going to have lots of fun. It is episode 67, so let's get the ball rolling. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me back this week, we missed him last week, he is the Luke to my Dax, the David Motters. David, what's up, brother?
Hey, brother, it's so good to be back. I just want to say, you and Samantha did such a great job. So enjoyed that interview, and I'm so bummed I missed it. She just sounds so nice, so delightful, and we got to have her back on. I absolutely, I listened and heard what you guys were talking about, and yes, so want to have her back on, where all three of us are on there having a fun time talking, and would love to react with her and you. But tonight I'm ready to react solely with you.
Yes, and we're going to do it. We're going to have fun doing it. We did miss you. You missed a fun time. It did turn into a bit of a chopper fest, but it was awesome.
It was.
So awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into things here. We got some a little bit of news here. Of course, Disney Day was this past week. We're recording this, of course, Monday, the 15th of November. This past Friday, the 12th, was Disney Plus Day. They're celebrating the second anniversary of the release of the Disney Plus streaming service. And a lot of hype, a lot of build up for this day. And there were some good things to come out of it from everybody. But they'll just go say it like it is. It kind of fell flat.
Well, I agree. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I was, you look back at all these other services like DC and everybody have their fandom, and they do a 1 day or some 2 day online streaming service where they're talking about new shows coming out. They're showing you teasers or trailers, or they're introducing cast members, and it's all live streamed and stuff, and it's a huge event. And kind of had the feeling this was going to be the same way, but then it was just a tweet thread on Twitter.
Well,
and
yeah. Well, there was a lot of Marvel stuff. So if you're a Marvel fan, I'm a Marvel fan. But a couple things I'm not quite sure why they didn't do the Boba Fett or Book of Boba Fett a teaser on this day. I'm not sure why they felt they had to do it on November 1st. That's fine. I'll watch it anytime they put it out, but it seemed like it would go with this. I'm staggeringly confused as to why they didn't put any clips of the Kenobi series. I mean, just some concept art. And that was a major fail because that all got leaked on Thursday. So on Friday, everyone had seen it already. And
nothing from Andor, nothing from and couple that with the news that we got about Patty Jenkins last week. It just has you wondering.
That was rough, man. Now the Under the Helmet Boba Fett documentary, again, 23 minutes long. I loved it.
Yeah. It was an awesome documentary.
Awesome. But again, I don't know if it was you, but I thought like Kathleen Kennedy or some Lucasfilm executive was going to kind of come on or have something even recorded, and they were going to put that on, and you could watch that for a half hour and maybe get some updates on Ahsoka, or like we said, Bad Batch, something from Andor, a more recent clip from Ewan, because apparently the clip that they showed on Friday, which leaked on Thursday, was shown to investors quite a long time ago. So that wasn't even a recent clip of Ewan talking.
No.
So, yeah.
It was strange because even Marvel had a 14-minute video on Disney Plus itself, where they looked at what happened, what they've done this year, and what to look forward to next year. And it not next year, but over the next year or two, with new shows and stuff, being the titles of new shows and stuff. And I mean, figure we'd at least get something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the sizzle reel that we got on Obi-Wan with the concept art, nice little tease. And the Under the Helmet documentary, I mean, when they were talking about Jeremy, you kind of couldn't help but tear up. But it was very, very good. But for what it was built up to be,
yeah,
I don't know. It definitely did not live up to the hype.
No,
to put it mildly. And they're definitely taking some heat for it too.
Yeah, I did not expect that at all. Throughout the course of the day, I was looking for more stuff to drop, and nope, nothing. And I was like, wow, really? Is it just me, or am I getting punked here? I'm getting punked. I think there's a camera on me going, say what? That's not like Lucasfilm or Star Wars to come, weak like that. I just, wow. I didn't expect it. But I'll be patient and look forward to Book of Boba Fett premiering next month, and we'll be all over that like white on rice, and we'll have fun with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're almost a month and a half away from Book of Boba Fett, so it's coming, man. We got stuff coming, so we'll see what happens. Other than that, big news wise, that's about it. But you actually had a very interesting thread discussion on Twitter this past week with Emma Condon about the psychology of Ronin.
Yeah, Emma on her Twitter feed, she does a lot of fun stuff related to Ronin, and she put a little, I don't know, you can put those little polls, and she put one out in terms of what people wanted her to do in terms of talking about Ronin, for example, talk about the aesthetics of it, like how she came up with the different planets and how they look. She has done that one since then. We're talking about the psychology of Ronin. And I was trying to, and then she also was talking about her writing process, and I'm guessing she'll do a thread on that as well. And so I had put my vote in and said, please talk about the psychology of Ronin. And she did, and it sounds like other people wanted that as well. And so she had asked, readers of the book to write in as well. And she even made a comment on there. She says, even, at David_Motter, she put me in there, she says, was looking to make some comments, and she goes, we'll see if he does. And I said that I would, and I wanted to follow that up. And it just took me some time to do it. Emma had a great thread, describing the psychology of different things, and even talking about therapy itself, and, going into therapy, what keeps people out of therapy, whether he should go to therapy or not. And so I thought she did such a great job. There was another person, Imithrax is I believe an editor over at Wikipedia, I believe. If I'm messing that up, please forgive me. But Imithrax did a great job with a thread as well, just looking at that person's thoughts on the psychology of Ronin. And so I had some time finally, Aaron, to sit down and just really organize my thoughts, write notes. And I didn't, I think I had 20 plus, things. I think Emma's was like 31 or maybe 35 or 36. But I kind of bounced off of her ideas on things, and it was really fun to write it and try to do what I try to do in the Psychology Corner each week on our show, which is to make our listeners good psychologists. And that's what I was trying to do for anybody who reads that thread. So I would encourage people to go over there, check out Emma's thread on the psychology of Ronin, also the Imithrax thread, and then check out mine if your eyes haven't fallen out by then. But you can a lot, and I do tease in the thread to that, and I've said this on our show that I was going to do a psychology profile of Ronin. Didn't do that in that thread because I kind of was more broad. I do really want to specifically burrow down and really cover the Ronin, that one character, in more depth in an upcoming episode. I don't know, maybe Aaron and I'll just do it on a one of our profile episodes. That could be a good one, right, for profile. Yeah, so it could be a profile as well as a psychological profile, and so that'll be coming up. But please check it out, read it, like it, whatever, or don't do a thumbs down, but hopefully you'll like it and enjoy it.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to point our listeners over there to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. You'll enjoy it. I actually read through it. And it was very insightful, and just like it felt like a Psychology Corner that I missed last week.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Just kind of, it just really distracted me off of the past week, and I just wanted to do it because I thought it was so nice that Emma chose to cover the psychology, and she really put a lot of effort into hers, and really if people check it out. And I didn't realize it was so cool but she has a master's degree in psychology. She puts that in her thread, and so that's really cool. So she's a psychologist as well.
Very cool. It works.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll keep moving there, close out our news segment, and go into our discussion for the week. So definitely we'll have a link to that thread in our show notes. So make sure you go there to click there to follow up and read that up. You'll truly enjoy it. Well, this week, since this is going to be because of, well, go ahead and clear this out. This is actually going to be my last recorded episode in my current Star Wars Reaction Studio. I am moving this week and next week, and we'll be setting up a new studio in my new house. So there will be no episode this week. So because next week there's no episode, we are going to go ahead and do our vintage reactions episode this week. And we're going to have some fun with that. Of course, our vintage reactions episode, we look back at some of the classic animation and shows that Lucasfilm has done. And we're looking at right now the series Ewoks from the mid 80s. Today we're looking at the episode entitled Rampage of the Flogs. This is season 1, episode 3, written by Paul Dini and directed by Raymond Jaffalis. This episode was originally released September 21st, 1985.
Wow.
So that would have been, that literally was my sister's 3rd birthday.
Oh my gosh. September 21st.
Literally. to the day. That was my sister's 3rd birthday. So what a coinky dink. So Rampage of the Phlogs. I love it. Basically, synopsis for this episode: Morag, of course, we all remember the evil Morag, captures a baby Phlog and makes it look like the Ewoks kidnapped him. The adult Phlogs are headed to the Ewok village where Morag hopes it will be destroyed. Meanwhile, Milani, the young sister of Tebow, gets upset and runs away when she hears that Wicket doesn't like having her around. Wicket and Tebow go looking for her while Nisa and Latara run to the village to warn them that the Phlogs are on their way. But Milani finds the baby Phlog. Wicket and Tebow find Milani with the baby Phlog, only to end up being held by the Dulaks in their village. Nisa and Latara end up coming to looking for their friends, but end up being captured by the Dulaks as well. Our heroes create a plan and put the Dulaks to sleep. And to do that, Kanisa sings a song. So that either means she has a really good voice or a really bad voice. But she put them to sleep. Nonetheless, the Ewok village prepares for the Phlog attack, while Wicket and his friends bring the baby Phlog back to the Ewok village, saving the day and ending the episode. And of course, as always, the Dulaks give us a good laugh. So, excellent. David, let's kick off our initial thoughts. What did you think when you first watched this episode?
Oh gosh, another fun episode. And it continues to teach new morals. You know, you and I have talked about those in previous vintage reactions to the first and second episodes of this classic vintage. Actually, I need to say vintage. That's how it is on Disney Plus. Star Wars content, being the Ewoks show in the 80s. Little morals. It's fun. This time, the morals are it's not. It's to not say hurtful things to others, right? If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all. And if you do, say you're sorry. And Wicket does that. He does. He ends up learning these 2 morals the hard way. Of course, you can't do it the easy way or you wouldn't have a show. And so, right. But I thought it was kind of cool. And I was thinking, I think this is the introduction of Milani. I don't think she's in the previous 2. I'd have to go back and look, but isn't it? Is this intro to her? I think in this one.
I think this is her first one.
Yeah. So it's a fun little episode, and I love it. It's mindless. It takes me back to the 80s when I was raised up, and it's fun because, like I've mentioned before on our coverage of the Ewoks animated series as well as the Droids animated series, I did not see these at the time. Not that I didn't want to. It just I was playing high school basketball, and like I said, every Saturday morning our coach had us coaching young kids in a basketball league in my hometown. So that was every Saturday for 3-4 straight years. So no Saturday morning cartoons for a while there, but that's okay. I get to see them now with you, buddy.
There we go. That's why I'm doing it, because I didn't get to see them either. Yeah. That's why I thought this would be such a fun adventure.
That's right.
All right. Well, for me, you know, I got to say, this is the 3rd episode we've reviewed. And these episodes keep getting more fun each time it goes by. I love it. The one thing I will say that popped into my head when I watched this episode, we got the Dulaks in it, Morags in it. We get introduced to the Flogs. The one thing that popped into my head was, where were these guys during the Battle of Endor? I mean, those ATSTs would not have stood a chance going toe-to-toe with the Phlog.
No.
Because the Phlog was the size, if not bigger than the ATST. So, man, can you imagine how much different Return of the Jedi would have been with Phlogs and Dulocs.
Along with the Ewoks that people
Hey.
were trying to, like little murder bears they were trying to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. The little space bears. So yeah, I could just imagine how different it would have been, but I loved it. It was fun. It was a great episode. So let's go ahead. Of course, from there, let's just go ahead and get into our talking points here. We do get to see a little bit of character growth in this episode, where we get to see people, where we get to see the Ewoks, and a little more of their personality, a little bit more growth in them when it comes to relationships. Tebow, Wicket, they're all kids, essentially. So, they have their crushes, and we get to see that in this episode. The Latara likes Tebow, and Milani likes Wicket, and we see all that going. Of course, Wicket is like the typical male. He's oblivious to it.
Right.
Which is awesome. But what were your thoughts when it comes to how they represented this, these crushes?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it, and you and I put it in there as a talking point. I was just thinking back to Return of the Jedi. We don't see any of that, right? I guess, no. Well, I remember the scene in Return of the Jedi when like one of those bombs explodes and we see an Ewok looking over at another Ewok that had been killed and kind of being sad and hugging the other Ewok, but nothing like, in terms of crushes. And when you think about, Latara liking Tebow and Milani, Tebow's younger sister, liking Wicket, like you said, they're kids, and I remember being that age, and you kind of liked a girl, and stuff, and some of the girls, they kind of had a little bit of a crush on a boy, but it was all very innocent, and that's the way it's presented here. And again, I think you and I touched on it a bit when we covered the first episode of this particular series and this season, the first season, that, this is mid-'80s. This is not now, where cartoons are just, cartoon animated shows, a lot of stuff is pretty edgy and violent and sexual. And so to see it like this, you talk about just a more innocent age. It was just refreshing to see. But there's nothing serious. And, Wicket learns that, hey, whether you like that girl or not, you need to be nice. And again, how many people need to see this episode, right?
Yep.
Driving on the roads of America. Be nice. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Any thoughts you have on that?
No, I thought right along with you. This was it was refreshing, and one thing I've said time and time again I love about these episodes is that, and what I love about pretty much all the cartoons coming from the 80s, is they have that moral core to each individual story, where there's the one moral they're completely focused on and they're trying to drive that point home. And they do that so well in 80s cartoons, and Ewoks is no exception. And one thing that, kids have crushes, and I remember kindergarten, I had a crush on somebody, and she had a crush on me, and it was, kids, you don't know how to deal with that. Some kids pull the other's hair to shoot, like, I'm gonna pull your hair because I like you. It's just stuff like that. And this was just a way to, you just gotta be nice to people, even if you don't reciprocate, you still got to be kind to them. And one thing I really carried from this too, besides the being nice to people, is whether you realize people are listening or not, your words have power. and will affect somebody positively or negatively. And you want to make sure that you're saying the right thing, an uplifting thing, a positive thing all the time. Because you never know whose ears are going to latch onto that and carry that. And
Yeah.
I that's one thing I truly liked about this.
Well, I thought they did that really well, right? Where Milani hears Wicket and Tebow and Latara up in the trees, and Wicket doesn't know that she's listening. So yeah, people, boy, they're listening, they're watching. So yeah, I thought it was really well done. So really good moral, really good learning point from this episode, and for kids to watch and learn.
Absolutely, they definitely do. And of course, we have the Flogs in there, which are unique. And for if you have not watched these episodes, you need to go watch them. If you haven't watched it though, and you're listening to this and you're getting spoiled on it, so be it. But the Flog, so you can picture a Flog. Picture Shrek, but taller, without the antenna, and yellow, not green.
That's a good description.
There you go. There's your Flog.
Yeah, huge.
Massive. He's huge. He's a huge creatures. Sorry, I couldn't help that. But but yeah, so you got the Flogs in there. But one thing I wanted to talk about too, because we see when the Flogs are attacking, we see one of the cliff give away and two of the Ewoks fall, and Logray kind of use his magic to catch them and float them back up. And it got me thinking, and I wanted to bring this up to you, David. I mean, we see Logray, we see his magic, we see Morag, we see her magic, and going back and forth. Are we possibly looking at force sensitive creatures, or is this legit magic tricks?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I do like that part where Logray, bends the tree over to help save a couple of Ewoks, and I didn't think about that, because I was trying to remember if it was. I've read so much of the High Republic in terms of the books, the comics. Of course, you and I have been reading the Insider short stories. And is it your impression, Aaron? I think it's mine, where they're, I think, trying to make the point within the High Republic that different people describe the Force in different ways.
Correct.
And yeah. And I don't know. I know, like with the like Avar Chris hears the Force as a song. I know that Bel Zettifar sees it as a fire. I think Elzar Mann experiences it as like the deep ocean, water and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember Stellan Geos. But I was trying to think if I'm just blocking again. I've taken so much stuff in recently, like I said, with the High Republic. If sometimes it might a different people group in Star Wars view it as magic or something like that, but it's really not. It is the Force, So is that have you been getting that impression from some of the High Republic stuff, or am I missing? Am I misreading?
No, you're not. I definitely see that. And I want to say it's even been addressed outside of the High Republic too. I'm trying to remember where I've seen something like that. I want to say it was Clone Wars.
Oh, okay.
Or
I wonder
that it was even mentioned that that Force gets interpreted differently. It may not be called that.
Yeah, maybe our listeners are screaming it in their phones right now. Or I know exactly what you're saying. Like, was it in High Republic addressed outside of it? I know I've read this because since we talked, I did go back through and I listened to Dooku Jedi Lost. I just felt the hankering to listen to it. Incredible.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I also went back and listened to Dr. Aphra, the um, audio drama. I was trying to remember in those, and I think I'm starting to mix up all the Star Wars stuff that's gone into my head, buddy. But you and I are on the same page that
yeah.
I think we could, maybe the Ewoks would interpret it as magic, but really the Force is in everything. And so for him to bend the tree and help save the Ewoks, different names for it, so yeah, I think I would lean more towards it's really they're Force sensitive, maybe low grade more than others.
Oh yeah, not even just the bending the tree part. Well, when they're out looking for Milani, I believe it was Tebow was like, listen, the forest is talking to us.
Yes.
It says that something is close by and we need to be careful. It's giving us a warning. So it's almost like, you're reaching out into the force because they come to a dead standstill at that point. So definitely there's hints throughout this that the Ewoks are definitely, some of them at least, are definitely force sensitive, and which would make sense. And then of course if Morag is as well, then you're looking at, again, light versus dark going at each other again.
Right. Exactly.
Which is definitely Star Wars.
Yeah. Light versus dark.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. I wanted to ask you that because that was just something I was thinking about after this episode as well. I mean, we're 3 episodes in and it's definitely giving us a lot to think about. So
yeah, I like that.
Perfect. Well, anything else we missed, David, that you want to talk about before we go into our final thoughts here?
Just real quick that, Morag continues to be that formidable foe. The Dulocs truly are the comic relief. They're not, formidable bad guys, They can't even babysit the baby Phlog, so
well, in their defense, the baby Phlog was taller than the adult Dulocs.
Exactly. I know, it just squeezes.
And about as big around as about 20 Dulocs. So
right, squeezes King Gornish, right, the head Duloc there. But I do like that. I pointed out that there is the mythological perspective in this. Paul Dini, the writer of these first 3 episodes, is hitting on that. Even I thought about it as Aaron brought up this issue, Logran Morag, is it magic tricks or force sensitive creatures? And I do wonder how much Paul Dini was thinking about, episodes 4, 5, 6 that wrapped up in 83, and these are coming out in 85. So, he'd watched those and thought about different force sensitivities and stuff like that. So, but no, I just wanted to mention that real quick.
Excellent. I'm glad you did. So, with that, let's go ahead and go into our final thoughts here. Since you kicked off our initial thoughts, I'll kick off our final thoughts here. I loved this episode. It was a lot of fun. It's very entertaining while we see the main characters grow a little bit there. Excuse me. Get obvious moral being taught. And that's, like I said earlier, why I love these 80s cartoons. As you said, Morag is becoming a formidable baddie. It's very devious. I mean, you can't help but wonder what's coming next. I do, and what stinks is I now have to wait a month before we do the next episode. So I got to wait. Even though it's on Disney Plus, I could watch it tomorrow if I wanted to. I'm not. I'm going to wait till we review the episode. One last thing. The 3 episodes into this series, and I got to say, this show completely reinforces that space teddy bear stereotype that everybody gave the Ewoks since Return of the Jedi was released. But fun series, fun episode, some good laughs, really good. David, what were your final thoughts there?
Yeah, similar to yours. I thought it was neat that they, expand the characters a little bit for us in terms of learning that some of the Ewoks like each other. I really enjoyed the learning additional morals. I mean, how can you go wrong there? Me, Aaron knows this, and obviously any listeners know this. I've really enjoyed my creature corners and Star Wars Resistance. That was a lot of fun. And so we get a bunch of new creatures in this in the form of the Phlogs, not to mention those peepers that sing and help put the Dulocs to sleep. But then also there's a little character named Munyon. I put in the closed captioning so I could see some of the words and names and stuff. But it's that small white, it looks like a little flying squirrel character. I don't think those are Hujibs. I don't think. I thought those were, I don't know. You got to forgive me. Thought those were introduced in the Marvel comics of Star Wars, but neat little creatures, obviously massive creatures, the Flogs, and I do have to say the Flogs are very weird looking. Aaron's description was very apropos and kind of consistent with what he had mentioned in his initial thoughts. I said, who would have known that Endor had such huge creatures and so many diverse creatures? Yeah, just fun. It's a nice progression, and I look forward to covering some more of these with Aaron as we go on. It's just fun to see stuff that we haven't seen before in terms of Star Wars content.
Definitely is. So, perfect. Loved your thoughts. So, let us know what you think of Ewoks, of our reactions here to Rampage of the Flogs. You can, of course, hit us up on social media, of course, Facebook and Instagram at SW Reactions, Twitter at SW Reactions Pod, and of course, you can email us show at StarWarsReactions.com as well. We definitely would love to hear from you. Of course, David, welcome back. I understand you have a psychology corner for us this week.
I do. I'm going to continue to. Yes. Well, we only have, while we're gonna have fun when Samantha Cato comes back and do a lot of psychology there in a fun way. And of course, we're going to have a Ronin psychological profile too. Going to be prepping for that while Aaron is moving. I'm going to go back through all of Ronin again, take my notes, and really get something good put together for our listeners. But tonight I'm going to continue what I've been doing for several episodes, which is the Freudian defense mechanisms. We're getting through them. There's maybe one or two left, depending on how many you want to count from Freud and from some other mental health professionals and stuff. But in this one, we're going to look at denial. And this defense mechanism is so common, we have all used the word at least one time or another while speaking. It's in our vernacular. It's in the words that we use every day. Like, for example, projection and sublimation aren't used often, but denial is. I mean, we've all said this. The classic joke, right? It's not just a river in Egypt, right? Denial. So we see this in persons with substance abuse. I'll just give some examples. Who deny the truth that they're destroying themselves and their loved ones. They're in denial of that. We can also see this in persons who are being verbally or physically abused. I've worked with a number of people who have experienced domestic violence. And so many women have denied that they're being abused because accepting it would make it real, and then what? And that's a scary thing as well because of what it means about them and the ones they love. And if it's a loved one hurting them, it just gets into such deep and serious issues that sometimes people just protect themselves via denial. And so very common one. And I'll probably wrap this up next episode that we do in terms of defense mechanisms.
Very good. Very good. Excellent psychology corner. Love. I'm not in denial about that either. So, so David, if they want to ask you questions about your psychology corner, or of course about your Ronin thread, how would they go about doing that?
Oh, definitely. That's at Twitter, and that is never changed. It's at David_Modders, Modders. Yeah, and please check it out. You can read through it. Like I said, I would highly encourage people to read Emma's thread on it as well. Very strong psychological perspective that she gives. So yes, that's Twitter. Instagram is just my name, David Modders. Just look that up. And then the last one is where Aaron and I, our website. And so it's very simply David at StarWarsReactions.com.
Very good. Very good. And if you want to talk Star Wars with me, or pick my brain, or just tell me how bad my dad jokes are, you can, of course, hit me up on Twitter's the best place, TA Harris 121079. Or, of course, you can always email me, Aaron at StarWarsReactions.com as well. And David, you know what time it is, don't you?
Oh, no. I feel so bad for our listeners. I feel bad for me.
See, you got reprieve last week, so I'd find an even worse one for you this week.
Oh.
And actually, I got, and to make up, since you weren't here last week, I've gone the extra mile, and I've got you too.
Oh, I feel so blessed. So
got to get you caught up, my friend.
So privileged. All right.
And because we are doing an Ewok episode, they're both about the Ewoks.
Nice.
All right. So here we go. David. You ready? Dad joke number 1. An Ewok strolls into a cantina. He looks at the bartender and he says, "Hey, I'll have a blue milk." And the bartender says, "Sure thing, but why the little paws?" And he goes, "Dunno. I've had them all my life."
A little pause. I get it. Brutal.
Love it.
Oh.
But I can't leave you hanging. I got to give you another one. I got to get you caught up since you missed last week, my friend.
You're so nice.
So, how do Ewoks catch fish?
I don't know. How do Ewoks catch fish?
With their bare hands.
It's just wrong.
With their bare hands.
Oh my gosh. Where do you get this stuff? Dude,
I love it.
I need a rim shot. Yeah. That's what we need.
Yeah, I love it. David, my friend, this has been a blast.
It has been, buddy. I'm glad I'm back on, and it's fun to record with you, and hopefully everybody had a good time and we didn't lose more listeners.
Hope not. I hope they got a good laugh out of the bare hands, same as I do. So, they got those bare hands, but they also, little paws. So, I just got one, but if they have little hands, if they have bare hands and little paws, could you also call them mini paws?
Oh my God. That's almost like a third one.
I gotta stop. I could probably keep going and coming up with new ones. I gotta stop. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Happy Thanksgiving. Remember, we will not be here next week. We'll be back the week after. Thank you so much for listening. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Enjoy your time. We love y'all. We're praying for y'all. Be safe. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.